Hello there, welcome to the end of August. I can't quite believe that it is the end of August already. That seems quite insane. But here we are, end of August. And what I am going to be doing for this bonus episode, I'm going to be doing these bonus episodes at the end of each month. And the whole idea is being very open and transparent, really, about the analytics for the Lazy Girl's Guide to Podcasting, both the podcast and the YouTube channel. This is not a new concept. This is something I've seen lots of different creators do. And I just kind of thought it was a great way of bringing you guys, the listeners, the viewers, on the journey with me and actually transparently seeing the growth of the podcast, because I think sometimes it's very easy to see creators doing well and have this kind of perception in your head as to how you think people are doing. But as I said, I just want this to be transparent and honest, and I want you guys to come along for the ride, because so many of you have been with the podcast from the very beginning when it launched in May of this year, 2023. So I just think it would be really nice to go on the journey. Let's kick off, and I'm just going to go through the different analytics and what numbers we've got, and if that's good, bad, if it's an increase, a decrease, whatever. The first metric that I'm looking at is my overall downloads. My goal, don't ask me why I picked this goal, I just picked this goal, but my goal eventually for the Lazy Girl's Guide to Podcasting podcast is to get and be hitting 5,000 downloads per month. Don't ask me why I picked that number. I just did. 5,000 downloads a month is what I want to be working at. In August 2023, I hit 172 downloads, which is only 3.4% of my overall goal. It was like 16-17% down on listeners from the previous months, which is interesting, but it's also not something I'm not too bothered about, because a lot of podcasters will see, or creators generally see, a dip or a slump in August because people are just busy and they're out enjoying the sunshine and all the rest of it. So I'm not too bothered about that, but I would like to see growth for next month. I would like to see more than 172 downloads and just be inching that little bit more towards that 5,000 a month download total. So this now takes the total amount of downloads for the podcast to 593, which is a 41% increase from the previous month. So seeing the increase, happy there. My top episode for both the podcast and YouTube, it was exactly the same, was episode 35, The Hack That Will Save Hours on Your Podcast Workflow. So I'll link that in the show notes for this episode. So do check that out in the description box as well on YouTube. For podcast subs, a total from Apple and Spotify, we've got 33 lovely people who are subscribed to the podcast. The reason I've taken those stats just from those two podcast directories is because the most amount of my audience come from Apple and Spotify. So I've got 33 people combined across those two directories as subscribers. Thank you so much. If you are a casual listener, by the way, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to the show as well. My largest audience, 53% of my audience are in the UK, 35% are in the US, and I think that takes me to 88%. So then about 12% is made up from other countries. The most used platforms to listen to the podcast are Apple Podcasts, Chrome, didn't specify where on Chrome, and also Spotify. So now we're moving across to YouTube. My watch time goals within 365 days is 3,000, because this is where we can start monetizing the YouTube channel. So I want to get to watch time of 3,000 hours within 365 days. At the moment, I have got 63.8 hours of watching time, which I don't actually think is that bad, considering I have only really knuckled down with a YouTube strategy and with things going on YouTube in the last 2 months or so. So I don't think that's bad. I'm actually quite happy with that. I am 2.2% of my goal to getting those 3,000 hours, which makes me smile. And the total views for the last 365 days are just over 8,000, which I'm pleased with. My YouTube subscriber goal is 500. As I said, to start the monetization process on YouTube, we need 500 subs and 3,000 hours of watch time. So I want to get 500 subs. I have got 27 lovely subscribers. So thank you very much. And that's interesting, actually. That's quite a similar number to the podcast subs that we've got there. So 5.4% of the goal being reached for those 500. Again, as I said, the top episode for YouTube was episode 35, the hack that will save hours on your podcast workflow. So thank you so much for that. And then this was another metric that I was not going to bother following. Total followers on social. This is purely out of interest more than anything else, because I don't really bother with looking at how many people you've got on social media, because I always think that, it's better to have an engaged audience than these crazy high numbers with no one's engaged, what have you. But what I then thought, well, actually, it would be interesting to know how many total followers I have on social. And as that grows, whether or not the listenership for the podcast or the viewership of YouTube grows. So that's more what I'm looking at with this than, I've got X amount of followers. So combined across all the social platforms that I am on, I have got 2,764 followers. The vast majority of those come from Twitter and then Instagram. And that doesn't include YouTube, because I've obviously already counted those elsewhere. So as I said, that will just be interesting to see whether or not that climbs. But overall, I'm not disappointed. I think that's really, really cool. We are only May, June, July, August. We are 4 months in with the podcast. So it's exciting to be able to start formally looking at these analytics, and then actually it will be interesting to compare as well to what we get at the end of September and then October, November, and just hopefully seeing that increase. And at the end of the day, I've got those goals in place for different reasons. But what will be really great is not necessarily seeing that next month I necessarily hit the 500 subscribers, although that would be nice, or, the 3,000 watch hours or anything. What is important is that I'm seeing growth and I'm seeing the numbers go in the direction that they need to be heading in. So very much looking forward to seeing what the analytics are like at the end of September. If you are not already subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do. If you're not already subscribed to the podcast, please go along and subscribe as well. We've currently, at the time of recording this, got 41 episodes in our back catalogue. So actually thinking about it, if we've got over 2,500 people following on social, imagine if everyone went and listened to just one of those episodes or watched just one of those videos. That would be so, so cool. But do make sure that you're following on whichever social platform you are on, and make sure that you're subscribed, listen to the podcast. That'd be amazing. Really want to hit those download goals, 5,000, and also to get to 3,000 hours watch time on YouTube and 500 subscribers. So thank you everybody who's already subscribed and listening and downloading and viewing and all the rest of it. And otherwise, I will look forward to seeing where we're at the end of September. Take care and happy podcasting.